welcome everyone to Ask an Executive Coach Anything here on Blab and on Periscope, and we are recording today. So Adam Quiney has joined me. I'm Dan Forbes, Lead with Giants Coaching, founder of the Lead with Giants community. We do record this when we remember to push the recording button. So thank you, Daniel. Adam, again, just take maybe about 10 seconds and reintroduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Former background as a lawyer/attorney, turned executive coach because while I was successful and doing well at what I was doing, I just could not care less. I had this deep sense that there had to be something beyond this. There had to be, there was a calling that wasn't getting fulfilled for me. And that's how I found my way to coaching. So I now spend my time, half of it coaching my private clients, and the rest of my time I spend training new coaches, developing coaches.
Okay, great. Yeah, glad to hear that. So if anybody would like to take a seat and ask a question, that's how we do it here. Keep in mind it is public, so whatever you ask, the whole world could possibly be watching. But maybe it's something that we can learn from, and it's okay to say, it's not really me, but my friend is has this challenge or this opportunity. I'd like to ask a question that might be helpful to them. That's perfectly acceptable as well. So let's talk a little bit also about questions that coaches use. Mm-hmm. And Adam, what is your primary methodology when you're doing one-on-one coaching with someone? Talk a little bit about your methodology.
It's always a frustrating question. The answer I give is often kind of frustrating for people because my belief is that coaching at its heart isn't so much about a methodology. It's about powerful relationship. Mm-hmm. I've heard I've heard a number of coaches, but Tony Robbins is the one that rings truest to me right now, say if you love someone, if you truly love someone, you can tell them anything. And I think that's ultimately the goal of any type of coaching, whether it's a sports coach, an executive coach, a life coach, a quantum ninja coach, whatever we call that variety of coaching. Powerful relationship is the key to that. And if you can establish that with someone, it's almost like the methodology comes off the board. And certainly there is a direction always to take with a client. But first and foremost, my mission is always, who is this person? And can I see them in a way that no one else has seen them before in their lives? And can I let them, this is the part that's a little scary for me, and I think a lot of coaches, can I let them see me in a way that they rarely get to see other people? And once we've created that, boy, anything can happen then. That's the place of miracles right there.
Yeah, I like that answer. Myself, with my coaching, I say it's personalized and customized. So I don't do what I call coaching from a box, and that is where I meet with someone and I say, look, I've got this 26-week program, and so you can look ahead on week 21. We're going to be talking about SWOT analysis, for example. I basically want to help people either solve problems or take advantage of opportunities. And rather than using a specific methodology, as you were using the term, I think it's important to just show up and to be present. Develop that relationship, and out of that moment where it's just me and the client having a conversation together about whatever's most important for them to talk about today. Mm-hmm. That's where the magic happens. Now we may have decided very early on that there's 1, 2, 3, or 4 areas of focus that the client wants to work on, and we'll pick one of those and we'll start going down. I call it a pathway. Mm-hmm. We start going down that pathway. But every time I meet with a client, I will ask them, what's top of mind for you today? What's most important? Is there something that you really want to talk about today and focus on today? And then we can go in any direction. But when I do that, I know I'm meeting the client where they are.
Mm-hmm. I see that, I might mispronounce this, but Clan Divine asked, what's the value proposition for your coaching? And I think that's such a great question. And it's a bit of a challenge in that I think the value proposition is actually over there. Like the value proposition is something that I want to draw out of the client. Like, what is it that they truly want to get from coaching? And sometimes that is as silly, well, not silly, sorry, but as simple. Like I've had people come and be like, I don't know what I want. And I want to, like, by the end of this, I'd like to actually be clear on what I really want to create. Mm-hmm. And that's a real challenge for some people, just to be in that space, that to let themselves be in the unknown. I know a lot of high performers, which tend to be the sort of people I work with, because that's who I am. We are exquisite at the doing and getting stuff done. And if you put this stack of papers in front of us, we'll get it done faster than anyone you know. But that's not giving us the juice that we really want. That, you know, we're good at that, but it's not really where sort of life on the edge is for us. And so I think my answer to that question would be that the value proposition is really, I want to create that in partnership with the client. It's not something I want to come and say, here's the value proposition I have. I can sort of give them some examples of things I've created with clients in the past, but I really want to draw out from them, hey, like, what's the value in it for both of us to commit and create this partnership? What are we going to create together? Why would you even work with a coach? What are we going to create from that place? So that's my answer to that question.
Yeah, and so the question in the sidebar there is, what kind of people? Are you talking about people new to executive roles? Do you have a particular target, Adam, that you are working with, target client?
Certainly. So high performers, very high performers, high achievers, people that have, for a lot of their life, not struggled so much with things like, you know, when they were younger, it's probably grades. And then as they moved into the professional, the corporate realm, they probably don't struggle to attain a promotion or to land the contract or whatever. And I find typically the kind of people I end up working with are people that have established a degree of success, a level of success. But then the funny thing about success and what we use to get ourselves here is that everything that got us to this point now holds us back. It actually keeps us locked at this level. And so the people I tend to work with are typically entrepreneurs, executives, people that have attained a degree of success and are doing pretty well and want to hit something beyond that. And that's where working with a coach can really create something magic, because this level up here is now being held in check by what you've used and put together and created that's had you be so successful up to this point. Yeah,
absolutely. And I say I help successful people become amazing.
Uh-huh.
And when I'm speaking with people, I say that, you know, if we say that point A is where you are today and point B is your vision, your goal, that's where you want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, whatever it is. I'm a big believer in people. I believe that you can get there totally by yourself. You can do it all by yourself, and you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. That being said, I believe that with a coach, your success can be accelerated. Mm-hmm. And you have a coach who walks along beside you as an encourager, someone who helps you think through the important things that you're thinking about, helps you to build in your own accountability, and to ask questions that sort of opens your mind up to things that you wouldn't have thought about yourself. That's the value of a coach. Now, I work, about 75% of my clients are in the real estate industry. Not surprisingly, I've got a background in real estate. Another, 10% of my clients are in financial services. I've got a background in financial services, but I've also worked with CEOs, C-level executives. I love working with entrepreneurs and high potential managers. So I'm not the type of coach myself that focuses on a real narrow slice, and a lot of people do that, and that's great, and they can be very successful doing it that way. I have a little broader palette. So let me ask if there's anyone in the room that would like to take a seat and ask a question. Thanks for your question in the chat sidebar. You can feel free to post a question there, but we'd also like to get some more people on camera. If we have other coaches, consultants, and advisors that like to come in and just talk about the industry and what's going on, tell us a little bit about yourself and your work, feel free to join us. Dan Goodwin is joining us right now. And anyone else is welcome to do the same. Hello, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Having a great day. What about you too?
You know, better than I deserve.
I'm doing very well as well. Thanks, Dan.
Good, Adam. Nice to meet you. Okay, so I get questions like this all the time when I'm working with clients. It is, well, what coaches do you guys use? You know, because I believe that coaches need coaches too. We always need to be looking ahead of us and finding out how we can strive to be the next X, whatever X is. So, I mean, I was just jumping in to say, continual learning, continual self-improvement, that's a huge part of what I counsel and consult with my clients. And I was just curious to hear what, from each of you, what areas are you focused on now? What are you getting coached on?
Okay, Adam, you want to answer that first?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for bringing that into the space, because I really think that as if you are a coach, it's integral to this work to have a coach. Like anytime someone says, what's the #1 silver bullet thing you would give to a coach, which is always a bit of a setup question, but my setup answer to respond with is get a coach. You got to work with your coach, because where our blind spots are back here, that's going to get in the way of our clients. So thanks so much, Dan, for just bringing that. What am I working on? Well, so for the first long while, ironically, the thing I was really working on was creating a lot of access to vulnerability and intimacy. I would show up on the call and have this way of being, and Strat Lerner pointed to like being as opposed to doing. I think being is really the most powerful place to hang out as a coach. That's where our work lies. And I would show up on the call with this kind of invulnerable being. I was worried that over there, if I showed up vulnerably or let people see where I was struggling, that my clients would lose faith or be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He can't coach me. And of course, what that left them with was this sense that that's how they should be. They too should not have any flaws, and they should be invulnerable, and things should be perfect. And it completely blocks the ability to create relationship with a client, and for the client with the coach. So that was a very large part of what I'm working on, or what I was working on. And now here's an opportunity for me to be vulnerable. The real thing that I've been doing a lot of work around is it's more the rigorous side of things. Glenn Devine kind of asked, like, do we also work in the operational side? And one of the things I've been very good at all my life is talking a good talk, doing 80% and making that look very good to a lot of people outside of my world, and then secretly being mad at myself and not satisfied because I know that there's a 20% that I can actually be operating at that I avoid because it's scary. And so a lot of the work I've been doing with my coach has been first even being willing to kind of look at that 20%, because if I describe it and if I get really clear on it, then I actually have to step into it. Right. And then doing the work and holding myself accountable and bringing the rigor to my own life and my own practice to actually step into that and take those actions. So that's the big stuff I've been working on.
That's
awesome. Let me ask the people in the room, if you'll tell a little bird, hit the little blue, tell a little bird over there right now. Let your Twitter followers know that we're live. Daniel, to answer your question, what I've often done, and I do now, in the Lead with Giants community, we have a lot of coaches and consultants, and I will sometimes trade some coaching with members of the community, or if I have a particular issue or problem, I'll reach out and get some coaching. I did that whenever I was thinking about leaving my cushy corporate job and launching my executive coaching practice. I reached out to many members of the community and just asked for advice from them. And I remember one of them that I was talking to. He said to me, "I think you already know the answer."
we do. That's exactly right.
and that's what, to me, that's a big part of coaching. I say so many times to people, we all know in our head a lot more than what we are implementing and what we are executing on. Yeah. If I, as a coach, I don't have to teach my clients something they don't know. I mean, they learn things, but if I can just get them to do what they already know, that is exponentially going to improve their life and improve improve their business.
I had a cohort one time, a coach, and he said most people need they need some mindset adjustments, and they need a little bit of tweaking with systems and implementation and leverage. But what they really need is accountability, and that's our role, is to discover that greatest business challenge, personal challenge, whatever field we're working or focusing on, and help them stay accountable. Because you're right, it's like Adam's talking about the 20%. That if number one, we have to acknowledge the 20% is there, and most of us would do that, Adam, right? So, but it's then identifying what the 20% is, and then having somebody kick us in the behind to get her done. I mean, that's really what it is. I totally identify with that 20%, Adam. I really do.
Yeah, Dan, why don't you take 10 seconds or so and just tell us what you do professionally?
Okay, sure. We have a similar background, Dan. I still have a family real estate team here in the Kansas City area. My and my wife mainly is taking point on that. But I'm a business coach. I've rebranded, doing some keynote mentoring, speaking, and teaching the entrepreneurs. That's where my heart is. So last month I got certified with the Kauffman Entrepreneurial Foundation, and teaching the Fast Track, the new venture classes. So that's really where I get my energy, is to be in front of people.
There's one other thing I want to put in, Dan, around accountability, which is I often find clients come to me and they're hoping that I'm going to hit them with the stick every week. And so they show up predictably from that way of being, that relationship to me, or that they're creating me as in their life. And the way I would sort of tweak it is that I'm not there to provide accountability so much as to develop my client's ability to be accountable to themselves. And sometimes that does require me, getting in there, but it's really about having that individual be able to hold themselves accountable, because then they don't need me. I become redundant, and that's where the magic,
Are we working ourselves out of a job? I mean, typically when we solve that skill set or mindset issue, then I think people they see the success in that. When they get to that next chapter in their life, then all of a sudden they're calling back and saying, okay, now I need coaching on this. And it's, okay, do I do that? Does Dan Forbes do that? Does Adam Quinery do that? Who does that? Who can I get them referred to if it's not me? So that's how I kind of look at it.
And I love the discussion about accountability, because virtually every prospective client says, I need someone to hold me accountable. And what I say is, I don't do that. Now, I don't want to be your accountability partner.
But we can teach you. We can teach you how to do it.
What I will do is help you learn ways to hold yourself accountable.
Good point.
And when in a coaching session, near the end of the session, I ask, okay, what is it that you need to do between today and our session next week? What's the one thing that you need to do? They might come up with 3 things. That's okay. My next question is, how are you going to hold yourself accountable? And I want them to learn. Maybe it's putting reminders on their calendar. Maybe it's sending me a text message every morning at 8 a.m. That seems to work well. Maybe it's competition and building in something like rewards for themselves if they do a good job, or punishments. Actually, when I was in real estate and was working with some coaches in a mastermind group, we experimented with rewards and punishment. And the punishment was, if you said that you were going to make 25 calls today, and if you didn't make 25 calls, you got a can of cat food sitting on your desk, and you got to take a spoonful of that.
Oh my goodness!
Very effective.
And believe me, that was motivating. So that was using a negative motivation. That worked. The other was, all right, if I make the calls, I get to take myself out to a nice dinner or something. So Dan, do you want to stay on board, or?
I can bop out. I just I wanted to jump in, and that was 2 of the questions I kind of had rolling around in my head, and thought, well, I can talk faster than I can type. So.
Okay, thanks. No,
all right.
That.
Thanks so much, Dan.
All right, great. If there's anyone else in the room that you want to take a seat because you have a question, that's really what the show is about, is taking questions and getting some coaching around your question. If there's other coaches, advisors, consultants that like to take a seat and just talk a little bit about what you do and what we're all doing together, that's great. Adam, let's talk about some favorite questions. If you've got a favorite question or two that you like to ask people, what comes to mind?
There's sort of a couple. The first one is, why do you want that? So I notice people will, this is very common in the legal profession. People want time management. It's almost like the thing that we're all looking for. We're no longer the gold rush, we're in the time management rush. We all want that sort of El Dorado of time management. And just to use that as an example, I'm really curious what that person wants that for. Because if we can get at the thing underneath, we can start to really, one, we might be able to shortcut, like, hey, maybe it's not about time management. Maybe we can create that thing for you free of managing your time or coming up with complicated structures to do so. And two, the answer to that question is going to tell me a lot more about the person's being. So typically, someone that has a time management thing comes and they're hoping, like, if I could just manage my time better, then I would have more time to spend with my family. And the real thing I notice as a coach is there's a deeper question, which is, what is your relationship to work or to the people around you or to yourself that has you filling up your time so incessantly in the first place? And if we can sort of take a look at that thing underneath and start to shift that, boy, time management almost stops to be an issue altogether. We've changed their relationship to something. So really, why do you want that? What for? What is it that you want that time management or that $1,000 extra a month? What would you put that towards? That's one of my favorite questions.
Yeah, I like that question. And regarding that, I like to say it's not about time management, but it's about priority management. Most people run screaming in the other direction when you talk about time management. And in reality, we can't manage time, but we certainly can prioritize that which is important. Which also reminds me, as you were starting to address that topic, is that if your why is big enough, you'll find the how, right? So you can open up a person's checkbook. Anybody still use a checkbook anymore? Anyway, maybe their check register, and that'll tell you a lot about their priorities. You look at how someone spends their day, the activities that they're involved in during the day, that says what their priorities are. So a lot of times when people are saying, I have a problem with time management, it's not time management. It's priority management. It's getting down deeper than that, talking about the why, perhaps, as you were indicating. Great question. So
go ahead, please.
I just wanted to repeat, anybody like to come and take the open seat and ask a question, or if you're a coach or consultant and like to join the conversation, feel free to do so. We're going to be here about another 15 minutes or so. So you shared one of your favorite questions. There's two that I like to ask sort of back to back, and that is, number one, what's working for you? And then after that discussion, what's not working for you? Or sometimes I will reverse that. So when I talk about what's working for you with a client, we're looking for, the good habits, the good processes that are already in place, that they're getting a great ROI or great results from, and to talk about, okay, how can we go to the next level with what you're already doing, your strengths, your talents, your gifts, your skills, your knowledge, your disciplines. How can we leverage that? And also I'm looking for behaviors. What are the behaviors that you've built into your life or your business? And then when we shift the question to what's not working for you, sometimes that's where the pain is, and that's where problems are, that we can dig a little deeper and begin to work on those. Okay.
I got two more that I'll share if I could. The first is, I'd love to know, I think this is actually a question I took from Steve Chandler, who's a brilliant coach and an amazing author. And that is, what is it that you want in your life, and how are you keeping it out? Because that kind of gives us two parts. It draws people to get clear on what they really want, and it also has them take a look at what they can own. Like, how is it that I resist that or hold that at bay? What do I do? And that gives us kind of a bit of a picture of the patterns and the behaviors that have them keeping that out. And the second question I really like to ask is, how does that serve you? So when people tell me, I've got terrible time management, I never have enough time, I'm always late for things, I love to ask, like, well, what's the benefit? How does that serve you? And of course, people's immediate answer is always, it doesn't serve me and it sucks and I'm a horrible person. But I really believe, and I think most coaches hold people this way, that every behavior we have, every way of being or way we show up actually has a positive intention behind it. We do stuff for a reason. We're not fools. We don't walk around hurting ourselves intentionally. There's actually something on some level deep enough down, it makes sense. And if we can start to get down and get really clear on what level it makes sense that someone is doing this behavior that they say they don't want, then they can start to really take ownership for it. And then we can start to do the work to move them past that point. Until they can really get clear on how it actually benefits them, it's a lot harder for them to move forward because they're kind of resisting themselves in a way.
Absolutely. Hey, Cynthia Basin, you got time to take a seat? I know you have a Blab coming up immediately following this at the top of the hour, and I plan to be there along with many others. If you've got an opportunity to take a seat, come on in and join us, or you might be getting ready for your own Blab following this one. Here's another question I like to ask. What's the question that you hope I don't ask?
It's such a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. What's the question you hope I don't ask? And you know, people already have in their minds usually that question that if you ask that, man, that means I've got to own it. I've got to be vulnerable. I'm going to have to take some action. But when someone's investing in coaching, though, they really want to own it. They want to go to the next level. That's why they are investing in it. So two different people I spoke with today on the phone who are not clients. One of them said, you know, my life is going so great right now. My business is going great. My personal life is going great. I don't think I need coaching. What do you say to somebody like that, Adam?
I would probably, so I'll answer your question a little digressively.
Okay.
One of the other questions I love to ask people is, are you sure? And I ask them that when they say, yes, I'm in. I want to work. I want to create a committed relationship with you, Adam. I want to coach. I really want to push that. I want to challenge the yes. Like a martial artist, I want to agree with the no and challenge the yes and check in. Like, are you really sure? And so when someone tells me like, hey, I've got an amazing life and things are really good, you know, if we've had a deeper conversation, I might point to some stuff, but I think that really what I want to do in that moment is just honor where they're at and say, yeah, it sounds like you do have a great life and like you're setting things up and you sound pretty content. And you can't be a coach until there's a client in the room. And in order to have a client in the room, there has to be a gap. So there's nothing wrong with someone having a great life and everything lining up. And hey, let's get in touch when there is something beyond where you're currently at that you want to create. There's nothing wrong with staying here for a while. Sit back and enjoy the ride. And when you're ready to take a look at that thing that's beyond where you're currently at, that's the time for us to have a conversation.
Yeah, I heard one coach express it this way, that he said, I like working with clients that don't need coaching, but they want coaching.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who of us has achieved the pinnacle of what we could possibly do in our business, or have the relationship that we could possibly have, the greatest relationship? Who of us don't need to grow and develop? So when he said that, I said, you know, some of my best clients today said that when I first talked with them. Everything's great. You know, why do I need coaching? Then I talked with another person. I'm so busy right now. There's so many things that I have to get done. I just don't have any time, any room on my plate at all for coaching. So what's going on with that person, Adam?
Well, that is so good. I love that, because what people do in coaching is they bring the way their way of being, they bring that into the coaching. So for people that have a way of being that is kind of like, do it right, get the A+, perform perform, that's what they bring into the coaching. And so when people show up and are like, I don't have any time for coaching, I'm really curious, well, what else in your life do you not have any time for? Like, how does that sort of way of being show up outside of here? Because coaching, as far as I'm concerned, is purely a conduit towards what we want. It's not like this separate thing. It's just creating more of what we want in our lives. And so I'm really curious, like, what else don't you have time for in your life that you actually want? Yeah. And let's start taking a look at that, because that's where the magic is. So I thank them for bringing that. I'm like, oh, thanks. That's so perfect that you don't have time for this. Are you interested in exploring that? Because I think there might be something there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And we're selling ourselves, right, to people that we can help them find the answer to their challenges, their problems, or take advantage of opportunities. And like you said a moment ago, starting with agreeing with the individual, and that's a classic methodology for dealing with objections. But it's just good communication. If I disagree with you, you automatically start putting up a wall. So exactly. So with that person, I was talking to, and they said, I'm too busy. I've got so many things on my plate. There's no way at all that I can think about coaching today. Again, I said, some of my best clients, again, said the same thing. But what would be possible if you could manage those priorities in your life just 10% better?
Well, and there's, it's so interesting because you said, like, we're selling ourselves. And of course, I use the term enrolling. Like, I'm always enrolling someone in me. But I think really the product I'm selling people is themselves. If I can draw out of that person, one, a vision for what they want, and then two, have them see that as possible. Like, actually, because most people, we have this vision of what we wish life was, and then we have this huge brick wall of why we can't have that. And if I can, one, get them to even own, that 20%, that thing that they really want, and then work with them just a little bit to have them see how that might be possible, the conversation stops being about me completely. And they're suddenly like, holy cow, I could actually have that thing that I am a little bit scared to ask for, but secretly really want. And that's where the coach just dissolves completely. And it's just about that person in front of you. And that's where coaching, I think, is the most fun, is when it's not about me or you or any of that stuff.
Absolutely. If I have to convince someone into coaching, that's a horrible way to begin a relationship. But, I found that most people, though, that are interested in coaching, it seems to come from a more pain-oriented issue rather than a pleasure-seeking issue. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, I think that's where we all start, is we're looking for the fix. Oh, I don't spend enough time with my family. I'm always working. The fix is work-life balance or better time management or whatever. And so I think you're absolutely right. Like, we're looking to fix that pain. That's our starting point.
One of the great questions I like to ask when I'm having a conversation with people, and this is usually over a cup of coffee before the coaching even begins, and that is, whatever the issue is. Let's say again, it's they feel like the guy at the circus spinning the plates on all the sticks. They have so many things going on. Just ask the question: what is that costing you?
Yeah.
What is that costing you?
Yeah, it's so great to bring, because what I find that does is it so much, I find in the first while of coaching, people first, if they've never worked with a coach, they're just learning how to even be a client, because it's weird. We're kind of simultaneously owning our lives and what we want to work on at the same time that we're working with this person to support us. And it's a little weird. And then from there, I find that there's a sort of a period where people actually learn how to own what's going on. And that question you just mentioned is brilliant for that, because it has people really get clear on the impact that they're creating. And sometimes we don't even hang out there at all. We're just so focused, and I might just be speaking about myself right now, but we're so focused on the next thing instead of spending the time to really look at the world we've created around us and really get clear on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got about 5 minutes or so left. Anybody have a quick question, like to take a seat and ask your question today and get some instant coaching? Something that people pay thousands of dollars for. Oh, here comes Jose, and let's see if Jose has a question for us. Hi, Jose, how are you?
Good, thank you. I try to take multiple jobs, I guess.
Mhm.
One, I work for as an insurance company. Two, trying to become like an animator. And three, I wanted to work in like the biotech industry. So, am I taking too many hats on, or like they say like what's it called? I forgot that phrase, but
That's okay. Your volume's a little poor. Can you get closer to?
yeah. Sorry. I'm just wondering if I'm taking too many hats and doing too many things and not prioritizing something. Like,
Okay.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Well, I didn't quite get the question. Em, did you get the question?
Yeah, so it sounds, Jose, let me just check in with you. Like, it sounds like what you're saying is you've got a ton of things on the go. You're doing a bunch of stuff,
Right.
and you're kind of unclear. Like, hey, am I taking on too much? You know,
Right.
do I have that right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
Okay.
go ahead, Dan. Why don't you go first?
All right. So, how are you feeling about that? What is that creating in your life?
Well, that those things are like my purpose or the things that I enjoy, but it's still stressful.
Okay. So it's creating stress in your life right
Yeah.
now, even though those are things that you enjoy. Okay.
Right.
Take the next question, Adam.
Mm-hmm. So, I often say that my job is to be like a little child. You know how children are like, why do you do that? What's that thing on your face? You know, and so the question I would ask is almost to flip it back to you, like, hey, is that working out for you right now? Like, how is your experience of life as a result of all those things you have on the go?
Yeah, I'm a little tired, but it's I had these goals that I want to accomplish, and that's the only way I know how to.
So can I share it? It over here it occurs a little bit like you have these goals that you want to accomplish, and my guess is that in order to do so, you've got it like your story or kind of the way it appears to you is that you have to do all these things. That's the way to accomplish all those goals. Is that right?
Right. That's true.
Got it. So, boy, first of all, Jose, I just want to acknowledge you. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for asking that question. Thanks for your vulnerability and your grace. You know, it's really a treat for all of us and for the audience. So I really appreciate that. And we could, there's so much there, but what I really hear is, my sense is that's not really how you want it to go. And I don't have to be right about this, but my sense is you're kind of like, I'm tired and I wish that I'm tired and I want to fulfill on all these goals. I've got big dreams. I can tell that you've got like vision. You're a man that has vision. And damn it, the only way I can achieve that is to do all of this stuff at once. And so the place that I would go with you is to really look at that story. Like, how is it in your life? What is the story or the relationship to the way things go that makes that a requirement? And that's where I would kind of look with you. I don't think we really have time to delve into it too much, but I'd be really curious.
No,
sorry, go ahead.
No, but you having the question to give the idea to use that question will help me out.
Yeah, I wish we had better audio. We're just not hearing you very well. But Jose, one question that I would ask of you, if you had one of your best friends who was coming to you and asking you the same question, what advice would you give to them?
Outsource or find a team, maybe.
I'm sorry?
Like outsource or like find a team, instead of working by yourself, you work with others.
All right, instead of working by yourself, think about forming a team.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've thought about?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what keeps you from doing that?
I don't have I haven't found the right people that are qualified to help me with that. These are three different things that are complicated, or it needs different people to work under those two different parties.
All right, and I'm sorry, but we're having an audio problem there. If you want to reach out to Adam or myself offline, feel free to do so. Be glad to continue that conversation. Thanks for coming on board, Jose. That's exactly what we wanted. Appreciate that. I'm going to follow you here on Blab right now. Thanks so much.
Likewise. Yeah, I would love to explore that with you, Jose. I think that is one of those. I find that the most powerful thing a coach can provide for people is when they've got I can't, but I must. And so they've got these two conflicting kind of things in their lives that are, kind of two bricks hitting them in the head. And breaking that stuff up is really, that's where the juice of coaching is. That's where the magic is.
And that's where somebody is shitting all over themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be doing the other. Or they may have someone else that's telling them that.
Yeah.
Only we can really dig a little deeper there as individuals in our own selves and figure out if that's something I really should be doing or not. So Adam, hey, thanks for joining me today on Ask an Executive Coach Anything. I hope that you can be back. We're going to be doing this every Thursday at noon Central Time, except for the week of the 21st, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 25th or 24th, whatever Thursday is that week. I think it's the 24th. I'm going to be hiking up in the Colorado Rockies, so I don't think I'm going to be able to be on Blab.
How dare you?
Yeah. Adam, share how people can find you if they want to connect with you.
Yeah. I'm on Twitter at evergrowthadam. You can reach, my wife is also a coach, and our website is evergrowthcoaching.com. And we also write a blog and have a podcast. If you look up Evergrowth Coaching on iTunes, our podcast is there. We discuss a lot of this kind of stuff. And finally, we have a Facebook community called Uncommon Courage, where people can practice kind of this living outside on the edge and basically a community to support that.
Okay. And Jeremy, I see your question over there. We've run out of time today, but hopefully you can be on the next program or so and ask that question. We'll be glad to talk a little bit more about the coaching business itself and how can coaches find clients. So I'm Dan Forbes, founder of the Lead with Giants community on Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Facebook, and now Blab. You can find me at leadwithgiantscoaching.com, which is my coaching business website, or you can find how to join the community at leadwithgiants.com. We have a tweet chat every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Time, and would love to see people join us there. We've been streaming live on Periscope, as well as this live streaming on Blab. The replay will be available if anybody wants to watch it. Again, thank you, Adam, for being here. I'm going to stop the recording right now, so hold on.